EA would not let BioWare make a new Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic game. With EA having bought BioWare and now owning the license for the franchise, it seemed like it was a no-brainer for them to resurrect the series. But according to Kotaku's Jason Schreier, the plans were blocked not once, but twice. Jesse, you are the gamer.
Yes.
You are the person that loves this franchise. I would be curious to know instant reaction when you find out that it wasn't just one effort. There were multiple attempts to give fans a third Knights of the Old Republic game. How does that make you feel?
It's frustrating because the Old Republic games are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, though, knowing some other information might kind of help on this. Currently going on with EA and BioWare is their new title, Anthem, which is they have a live demo going this weekend, and I think all this next week and everything. It's kind of their next AAA game, kind of like a Destiny-like game from what I can gather.
Open world?
Instanced, I think.
Okay, cool.
So I can see if this game looks. I mean, game development takes a couple of years and everything. So if EA was wanting BioWare to focus all their efforts and energy into making sure that this works, I can understand them potentially blocking, going, no, we don't want you to make it now. If it was just like them just being evildoers, kind of thing, that's totally not cool. At the same time, I'm not sure how BioWare would be able to pick up this particular franchise, because you have 1 and 2, and then Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is a continuation of that storyline. So I don't know if they'd be like, no, you've got the MMO. That's what you're going to work with. You need to focus on making that,
And then you get canon
as good
issues,
as
right?
yeah.
Because if you make this third game canon and you reference anything in the past, now you're getting into murky waters of, is that actually canon? David, right now, EA is in a lot of hot water with fans because there's been 2 games canceled. We've only got 2 major platform games to show for it, Battlefront 2015.
A mobile game.
The second one, and we have Galaxy of Heroes, which was for the mobile device.
It's a mobile app device.
As you can hear, I'm not very familiar with it. I know of its existence. I didn't play it because I don't go for my gaming experience on the mobile.
Do you not have a phone, David?
But I don't like phone games. Like, that's not good. Like,
I got that. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But it's like, I want to play it on the PlayStation. I want to play it on the Xbox. I want that quality of story as well. And so, David, we're in a tight situation here because both of those games that we've had for the major platforms have controversy.
Yes. So the first game, Battlefront 2015, did not have a story mode, and then the second one had a lot of criticism over the story mode, not long enough, not good enough, but then the microtransactions became an issue. So I don't think I've ever seen any sort of flack this big for a video game than what the Star Wars community gave EA about this. Now they've canceled Knights of the Old Republic twice, and they still have the contract for another 4 years. Unless Disney decides they want to pay to break that. I do know that there's 3 more games in the works when I was doing a little digging. There's going to be a Battlefront 3 at some point. There is
There's that ragtag, but I think the ragtag was just
that's Project Ragtag. That was canceled twice.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order. That one's coming out. That's a game from Respawn. They made Titanfall, which looked really cool.
Right, and that's the game, Jedi Fallen Order. You're going to play as a Jedi who escapes Order 66. You're probably going to get some Vader run-ins there, at least I hope.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's my assumption there.
Do you know what platform that's coming out for?
It's coming out for like Xbox, PlayStation.
Probably on all platforms.
Well,
not my Nintendo Wii.
Not your Nintendo Wii, but current gen.
My PlayStation 2
I don't
won't be able to handle
think Battlefront 3 is coming out until you have like that next gen platform.
Probably not. The thing, you mentioned some valid points, specifically, about Battlefront, the Battlefront games. So Battlefront 2015 actually, in some ways, I actually found some of the gameplay more entertaining, especially because it kind of ties in with the current state of BF2. You had a lot of weapon variety to choose from, which kind of allowed a variety of play styles to take place, which was very enjoyable. Fast forward to Battlefront 2, they got extremely slowed down by the microtransaction issue. And the frustration that came from the fans on this, and especially as somebody who played alpha, played in beta, was that the current system was like, you can't do this. You're allowing people to use a credit card for progression to actually have an upper hand. They didn't listen. They went forward with it, and I mean, you all know the firestorm that came with it. I mean, we're talking. I mean, all over the world. Belgium, I think, was the first country to actually look into loot boxes and things like that. And there's actually a lot of laws that are in progress about the nature of loot boxes because it's viewed as a form of gambling. With that being said, they took that out. And they had to redo the entire progression system in Battlefront 2, which slowed down the DLC content that they had planned. Now, they've done some really great things we've got the Battle of Geonosis, we've got new heroes, Dooku just came out.
And I want to be careful. Let's not go into I think where the conversation is ultimately heading with there is the fact that like how much longer do they pump out the DLC? But
it's how long is that going to go?
We'll talk about that later in fan comment.
So I was curious because you said you probably won't see the game until the next generation of consoles comes out. So I did a little Googling. It looks like Xbox and Nintendo is potentially looking at a 2020 release of a next-gen console.
Okay.
And PlayStation is slated for 2021. But here's another article from Tech Radar that says if they decide to put out the Xbox One in 2020, PlayStation may try to push for a December 19
Interesting.
PS5.
And the Fallen Order video game drops in November. And David, I need you to look up for me Vader Immortal. I'm pretty when that drops. I think that's the VR experience. That just saw Sam Witwer did a walkthrough with some people, and the game just looks stunning. But when does that drop, and then where can we experience that at? I would imagine JLS. Maybe you know something about this since you're the one asking about it in the live chat. If we're going to be able to do that at the theme parks, maybe play there because I don't have VR in my home.
This article says sometime in 2019. Looks like it's going to release for the Oculus Rift.
Okay.
Let me keep looking here.
Okay, Gannon's coming in here saying early 2019, no exact date yet. So my thing is this contract with EA runs until 2023 that we've covered extensively on the show. Last episode, we talked about how there's like an opt-out clause in that contract where there might be they need to find one.
I believe there was a petition that people were forming to get.
Yeah, but petitions don't do anything.
I know,
but people petition for The Last Jedi to get remade. I mean, those things just don't happen. And I don't want to be too hypercritical, but I think it's a valid point to make. LucasArts pumped out the games, and clearly there was some issues with LucasArts there at the very end that caused for LucasArts to dissolve. But I really like what Gary Whitta is suggesting. He's the writer of Rogue One. He's also a big name in the gaming world. He says that if EA wants redemption and wants to save their chances of re-upping the contract, they need to find a way to make Knights of the Old Republic 3 happen and
make it good.
Make it good, or Disney, Lucasfilm, whoever needs to break this contract and restart LucasArts. Which I would like the latter. I think that's the way to do it.
A little bit of inside information. And everything. At the time that Old Republic was coming out and came out, the head of the BioWare division and the head of EA, they did not like each other at all. And of course, unfortunately, the one guy controls the budget and everything, the funds going into that division. I don't know if that's still an issue. I've read a lot of interesting things about how EA doesn't really know where to go with this franchise or how to please the fans, and that's why they keep canceling stuff.
And
there's
Gary
Whitta.
Internet.
Gary,
Google it.
Yeah.
What do fans want?
But it's just like, exactly that.
My
It's just
Lord.
EA is notorious for not listening to the player base. This is the same company that 2 years ago at E3 said that there was no market for a single player game. Well, guess what? The game of the year was God of War.
Single player
A
game.
single player game. So what's the issue here? Why are they not getting the message? Players want single player.
They want the
and
story of the
they
single
want
player.
a story.
Which was to me the strength of Battlefront 2. I loved that campaign. I just hope that I would love to get more pieces to that story over
I
time
would've
if that were
wanted more
possible.
with it,
Great
yeah.
downloadable content options there, and like Gary Whitta says, this is like the holy grail of gaming franchises. Star Wars. There's endless potentials.
So much
And
potential.
he's like, it's embarrassing how they've messed that up. If you want to know more about what Gary Whitta said, episode 55 of Beyond the Blast Doors, catch it on the rewind.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.